for us, this is our experience. We can make it whatever we want it to be. We know that. But I think this is also useful for us as a challenge to get to know ourselves better, get to know each other better. And this is like such a good way to do it. And I think that that's like how I have approached life since the get-go.
Yeah.
It's like, well, how much can I learn from this experience? And let's hit every angle. So I do think, yeah, as I said that, I'm realizing like I'll keep it. That'll be the first studio visit, and they will change as they go.
I think going back to like why we're doing this in the first place is like, it's not necessarily about money. It's not necessarily about fame either. Like the name is closer. Like I wanted to create this community where like we're not talking at a million people. Like it feels like we're talking with a small group of people who are really invested.
For me, also using this platform isn't about the money. It's more about like our protecting ourselves in a way, like protecting ourselves from Instagram and TikTok and all of those places that don't give back and not give back money wise. And that this is kind of like my version of why I'm like a big part of why I'm doing it is protecting our work, protecting each other, and creating a real safe place to talk about all of this where I'm not going to care, what I look like on days I'm recording it's just like a true testament to who we are. And we're going to give so many people access to that. But yet it's protected to some degree. And because the people who are going to be really giving our money, giving us money, are really invested in us. And I think that's like, it's more sincere, and it's less about creeping and like, I don't know, maybe it's just different for me than it is for you. But my experience with Instagram is just like, people are just so curious about me, and I won't give it to them because I just don't feel like it's the right way to do it. And I don't know why. I just can't get myself out there the way that I really think that this platform could really get me out there. Because you get me out there. Like you have the ability to like get me to say anything.
Well, it's like definitely trust your gut, and like so much of what you said I also agree with.
Okay.
It's also like kind of like online dating, like
Yes, exactly.
Instagram is like set up this environment where you can like just scroll, and even if you like something, like, oh, I like this painting, I like what this person is sharing, there's an assumption that there's more, and they can just scroll by and kind of move on to the next, or even decide to go on like someone's Instagram page and like creep around and get what they want and move on. And
yes,
Patreon,
exactly.
It's like Patreon's more about like making a choice. Like I really want to be in this and involved in it on a deeper way, and not like just scroll by or just absorb things on a surface level. So
it's not a true scroll happy environment, and that's like what we're so used to right now. And we could be doing this at a really good time where like the world is going to open back up like pretty soon. And maybe we aren't doing this at a good time because the world is opening up pretty soon and no one's going to be like wanting to be on the computer at all. But I think technology is going to be the forefront of basically everything forever. So
yeah, I mean, I always like this is another thing I was talking with my brother about. Like, I never listen to or I never watch visual podcasts. I just don't. And I was telling him, like, I'm so concerned, like we're recording the video, like nobody's gonna watch video. Like I listen to podcasts all day, every day, but I'm like doing dishes, I'm doing laundry, I'm painting. I love podcasts, but it's the audio for me. And my brother was like, I don't like the audio. Like I like watching the video. Like I actually do. Like I'll watch the podcast. It makes me feel like I'm there with the people. I'll eat dinner. I'll like draw. Like, and I was like, wow. Like, okay. I mean, I guess people do watch visual podcasts then.
Yeah. But
I almost texted you because the day I recorded mine, I was feeling really anxious. And sometimes that just happens, like, if you have anxiety, it's just like sometimes a chemical thing. There's nothing really that triggers it necessarily. Just really like unsettling, and like you're on shaky ground and kind of sick to
Mm,
your stomach, yada, yada, yada. And I was alone,
mm,
and it felt really uncomfortable to film and like record
yeah.
what was going on. But I actually talked about like the anxiety and stuff, like being in the studio and
Oh my
feeling
God.
anxious, and like how the painting is like a very physical way of slowing down my body, my breath, and like um, I've I haven't edited it, but I feel like it's going to be much more.
Deeper.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, deeper
yeah.
and more about you and the work. But like mine is a bit about both, mine's like,
Hmm.
as well. Like, oh man, that's so vulnerable. I totally can attest to like filming in times where you're like, I don't even want a camera in front of me right now. But, doing it anyway is kind of like the accountability thing that we're talking about with this. It's kind of
Yeah,
like getting us out of our own way a little bit and using this as an opportunity to help us.
yeah. You know what I didn't expect in a million years is I actually felt better after
Did
I
you?
recorded it.
Okay,
Yeah.
that was my question. Cause like, yeah,
It
yeah.
I don't like, I can't explain that really.
Hmm.
Like, what about just being alone, talking to myself helped? It felt like maybe I was like overcoming something, like, oh, this is like semi uncomfortable, but I did it anyway, and therefore that's something to celebrate. I don't know, but I felt really good after, like just proud of myself. So
Proud of yourself. Yes. I love that because I was watching the show Next in Fashion on Netflix, and this really, I don't know if you've seen that show, but this really like humble Asian woman ended up winning. And she was like, the biggest reason why she was like in tears was because of how proud she was of herself. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, I want to feel proud of something, as well. And that just made me remember that. And I'm just kidding, Rue. Um, but yeah, thanks for saying that. But like sometimes doing something in moments of fear and anxiety, we can really be proud of anything that we accomplish in those states. Even getting out and getting yourself a cup of tea when you're like having an anxiety attack is like a real victory.
yeah, I mean, these
Yeah.
visits with you have always helped with that too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I'm always like revealing something uncomfortable, and like
Yeah.
and now we're adding this like recorded element, so
Ugh,
I feel like
yes.
I'm kind of like leveling up. Um,
Yeah, me too. And same. I mean, we have so much to learn, and we have so much that's going to be revealed, but between us. And but right before I called you, I was on a walk and I was talking to my aunt who just gave her third webinar to 4,000 people. 4,000
wow.
people. And she is a woman that 4 years ago would never be in front of a camera. She wouldn't even let me take pictures with my cell phone. So if
Wow.
she can, she's like the success story we all need, like of really overcoming fear. And she used yoga to do that, really.
Hmm.
And meditation. So I just, I am going to see her on the spring equinox. So I'm actually going to ask her some questions that she might actually be a really fun person to talk to. And she's in the psych industry. So she's a risk management person where she talks to therapists every day about their problems. So it's like
Wow.
she's leveled up. She's like up. She has like a doctorate and stuff, but she's talking to, this webinar was all about self-care and about how you take care of yourself when you are a therapist. And they talk about like sympathy pains and like everything that, you know, personally are going through, and how do you really truly take care of yourself, instead of like taking a bath or doing this and doing that. But like 4,000 psychologists were there.
That's so impressive. Like, I just can't imagine.
So impressive. Like, I'll send you
Wow.
the link, like you will die. But
My God.
I think that there's so many different levels, but like, I just love, you know, she was so relieved when I talked to her because she had finished this. But I just, anyways, again, proud of herself. And I just like that feeling, that like of knowing that people are proud of something that they've done, and like, yeah, I just, even in just you putting photographs together with the closer in front of it, I'm like, oh, I'm like so proud of us,
Yeah.
you know, just like getting to this point and like, you
Yeah.
know, trying to collaborate on something that is pretty abstract. And, you know,
Mm-hmm.
we are quite small, and there's probably thousands of millions of other people doing the same exact thing, but I don't care because this is something that's really important to me. And I think is
Yeah.
equally as important to you. And I just, yeah, anyways.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Like,
with
I'm so excited
me too.
to keep
I'm
pushing
really excited.
forward.
Yeah. Um, and one other thing I was going to say, I can't wait until I'm visiting you and we can do it together.
Yeah, like
That'll be that's going to be a special video.
that's something to really look forward to, like an actual in-person thing, and then have like, I just imagine doing like studio visit, you know, in my space, like with us together, hiking together. Maybe like I schedule a studio visit with like Heather Day or like, I don't
Yeah,
know, someone.
exactly.
So
And then
someone.
we can, Heather Day would be like my actual dream. Okay, that would be something else. Woo! But we can make anything happen that we want. So, yeah. I mean, she talked to Beyond the Studio, just two people, but she did go to school with like one of them, and they're pretty. Actually, their podcast is quite large now, but
Oh, really?
yeah, Beyond the Studio, it's really good. It
Okay.
just talks about, they interview all different artists about business and this and that and just everything. It's just, and they're such smart young women, and I just love them. So,
Yeah,
um,
that's something I hope we can incorporate. Like, I was thinking about people I could invite, and one person I really loved talking to was Carly Glavinsky.
hmm,
I just like through the years of showing artists work, like some people I really clicked with, some not so much, some were more like surface level. But she, like,
yeah,
the second we met, I was talking about like my financial situation, my frustration with
yeah.
work. Like, we really opened up to each other. And
Hmm.
I was also thinking, like, she's really well known. And I've listened to podcasts with her, and it's the same stuff. It's like, what's your work about? What are you working on now? What's your studio like? And that's interesting too. But I was like, what if we just say, like, you know, if you really want to know about her practice and what she makes, like, there are so many podcasts out there with that. But I really want to talk about like finances. Like, how do you build your relationship with your gallery? Like, are you able to, like, I don't know, it
Hmm.
was so cool how honest she was with me. And I don't
Yeah.
know if she would feel comfortable sharing like financial stuff or whatever on a podcast. But I think like that, offering that kind of real conversation where, like, you know, she told me like when the pandemic hit, she was worried about money, so she took on this art director job. And she's like, you know, it's been like really great because I've never had a steady income working as a full-time artist. And um, that stuff is really just honest, and it's about the struggle, which is what any artist who subscribes to us is going to be experiencing in some way, shape, or form. Like,
Hmm.
I'm scared about this, I'm not sure about this, I don't like, to touch on some of those
Yeah.
things would be really cool.
Yeah. It's such a testament to how like Instagram can like put on a pedestal, you know, an artist who's really well known, or even their websites, or even history books or whatever. And we have this like lens, but then we talk to them and they just pour their heart out. Some don't and some do. And I think that definitely that would be like a really good person to have on. And then if she shares it, who knows, you know? And
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to grow. I think like I'd love to interview Erin, you know, just because she's from the fashion, and she definitely does a lot of soul digging, like a lot. Like she spent a month out in the desert by herself, you know, recently. And
Wow.
she has a lot to say about, you know, being queer as well. And just think that there's so much there. And she's such a powerful, like, you know, symbol to the fashion industry too, that I think it's going to be really fun to take these. Maybe we could find even, you know, just real well-known people, but like we really get to the core of like a lot of their real situation. I just think that is who we are. We always like, people just end up pouring their heart out to us.
Yeah.
And it happens when we're alone with that person, but I wonder what would happen if that would change a little bit, if it's the both of us.
Yeah, who knows? I think
Yeah.
you just said it really beautifully. Like that's not even what we do. Like we don't really get together and like talk about like composition and color. It's like all this really real
Yeah.
stuff. And like how great would it be to like have, you know, the winner of like Project Runway talk about like isolation in the desert, and
Yes.
like just like
Yeah.
she already probably has a million interviews about fashion and like her point of view. Like, what
Yeah.
about like everything else?
Yeah. What about everything else?
Yeah, I totally
That
agree with
happens to
that.
me. Like
Yeah.
Colleen Michaels is buying a piece from me.
Yay.
Yeah, her and Chris came to my studio, and I just
Oh my
like
God.
poured my entire heart out to her. And and this is and she told me that she sobbed all the time with your show that you had up at Montserrat. She was,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I just like hearing her name like makes me feel really good. Like she's one of the good people at Montserrat, and like
She
it
is.
makes me sad. Like I just laugh. Like she doesn't know any of the drama. Like it's really weird. Like
Yeah. And I didn't say anything, of
yeah.
course.
Um,
But it's weird because you hear those names and you're kind of sucked back into that world.
yeah,
But
she's such
she's
a
one of the good ones.
wonderful. Yeah, she's so
She's
wonderful.
amazing.
Yeah, yeah. I loved like that whole thing with her was honestly life-changing. Like
I
this
don't,
this
yeah.
discomfort about like she wanted me to like create this display. Like I obviously didn't want to shove paintings in like the writing center. So it was the first time I showed like pieces of love letters and collage and like 100 stamps that were like ripped off from letters, and like um, creating an environment. I asked Arthur to record audio. Like it was, and that was what the audio was what a lot of people cried listening to. Um, and I would have never made that kind of work without her. Like
Yeah.
collaborating with her, and like it was kind of a silly thing, like a little installation at a college in their writing studio, but it was very pivotal for me.
Sometimes the smallest things are the most effective. Yeah. So she's great. I'm so glad you had that experience with her and doing that just in general, because it really fueled you, I think, to continue and just do more and to fight for it
Yeah.
and like know that there was a realness to it by putting it on display.
Yeah, it's like the stuff that I keep saying all the time. Like I like the dirt in the corner. I like the plants.
Yeah,
like it was the
exactly.
first time I actually showed it. Like I just showed a pile of stamps. I showed a pile like of
Yes.
scraps of fabric. Like and
Traces.
I felt good about it. Like this wasn't a part
Yes.
of the work. Like this could be the work.
It is the work, right? Exactly. And it's fascinating that you and I have this kind of sensibility to process and like and giving people bits and pieces of our world versus the final product. Like, you know, it's
Yeah.
like it's the whole thing for us. It's the entire journey for us. It's the journey for me that gets me there. It just made me think of that. Anyways, but that's awesome that you had that. And she's just such a lovely person. But did I answer your questions? I didn't mean to like totally derail. And that's
Yep,
it? Those are the
that's
only
it.
questions? Oh,
Yeah.
great. Thanks. I don't know if you've realized that I was trying to answer the questions via Instagram. And I said that you and Daniela were the only people I bought art from. That's such a lie. Like I've bought like Jake Cassavoy. I've bought like other people. And I realized that after I sent that, I was like, of course I buy art online, but
Yeah, that was really great. Like it was kind of, so surveys and interviews are very different. Like surveys are created to figure out more of like the what, like
yeah.
statistics and more like yes or no questions. Like, um, and then interviews are more like prying, like, open-ended questions. Like, can you imagine a way that you could facilitate more sales, and just hearing the
Mm,
person talk. So I don't know how I came up with that idea. Like surveys, usually you give out like, you make like a Google form or like type form or whatever. But I was like, there's so many artists on Instagram, and I got a lot, like just really great, like, do you sell your work online? Like people just saying yes or no. Like that's amazing data. Like out of 40
yes.
people, like only half are selling work online. Like that's amazing to know.
Wow. That's really cool to know that like that gives you that what, and then the interview gives you the how and the why and kind
hmm
of answers those questions out of the gate.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
cool.
I graduate in 6 weeks, and I'll give like a big thesis, like
Mhm.
presentation
Oh my
about all
God.
this. So it'll be good. Like I'm already working on the slides. Like 70% of people, are selling their work online out of a study of X amount of people, and I interviewed 5 artists, and some of the like high level findings were that they were turned off by Etsy and they prefer to use Instagram or
Mm.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I definitely want to incorporate, since I'm spending so much time on the art sale thing, it's gonna find its way into our project, like either just like a
Definitely.
blog post,
Yeah.
or maybe I'll
Yeah.
just upload the whole presentation,
Yeah.
because
For
I think
sure.
it'll be really helpful for
Yeah.
artists.
Yeah. I think this is going to be just good for every part of our life. And you get to
Yeah.
really learn and through, hopefully we get up and running before you graduate. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
so. We'll be okay in 6 weeks, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah. I
We're
mean,
in no rush,
I
but
think we're making stuff like the visits, and like if we record the intro conversation next week and
yeah,
edit it and upload it, like I could imagine like a couple more weeks I could see it happening, but we'll see.
yeah, yeah. I think so too. I think I wanted to show you this book I got before.
I can't wait to read.
I know. All we can save. Truth, Courage, and Solutions for the Climate Crisis. She's doing her research, people. She's
I
going to
love
dive
it.
into the climate crisis soon because I really want it to be a part of my work, and I really just need to start somewhere. And Ayanna Elizabeth Johnson, um, she is a woman who kind of blew up with this book, and it's on like a lot of reading lists and things like that, but I bought it straight from her. I didn't use Amazon. I'm so proud.
See, this is the stuff too that's like, if people were signed up and like you were thinking about the weekly text, like I just got this book, my work is
Yes,
so much about like my environment and the
right.
environment, and I want to learn more. This is an artist. Like
Exactly.
how cool is that? And then
Exactly.
from that text message to have like X amount of
Yeah,
people buy the book and read it with you,
right.
like
And that's why I wanted to give off like, what are you reading? What are you listening to? What part of what podcast felt really exciting for you this week? That can be in our weekly, a smart thing for people to do. And I'm over here
Yeah.
like, I barely read, but like I'm now, getting more into it, but it took me a while.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's only so many hours in the day too. It's like we're trying to paint, we're trying to like
I
even
literally am running
just
a business.
just
Like,
hearing you talk, like, yeah, like, okay, I want to upload this watercolor. Like, I need to photograph it, edit it, upload it,
it's
price it.
insane.
Like, you
Yes.
know, it's a lot of work to do all this stuff, and then
It's
we're trying to like work on this project, listen to podcasts. Like,
be
it's
vulnerable.
just like, damn, and
Yeah.
work out and
Yes.
stretch and do
Yes. And
yoga.
yes. Oh my God. You're like speaking my language per usual, but it's like so much work. It's like
Yeah.
today I spent so much time creating 2 invoices and setting up a mural page on my website. I mean, that's what I did today. It's crazy. And it took me
Yeah.
all morning, and I didn't even fully stretch yet. And I meditated. And then, it's just, there's not enough time in the day for
Yeah,
artists.
the days fly by. Like, I haven't really
Yeah.
done anything. I was thinking about some of our stuff this morning,
Yes, me
looking at
too.
the videos, texting my brother a lot,
Oh my God,
and
he's our first hire.
and doing a lot of research. I'm
Good.
gonna make a big painting like very soon. I'm trying to figure out the way I want to do it.
Cool.
So I was literally I went outside and measured the back of my trunk because like I don't want to put myself in a position where like I'm
Yes,
stuck.
you're
So
so smart.
so I figured out exactly what I want to do. This is gonna be like an 8 or 9 foot. It's gonna be really long, but it's gonna be like multiple panels.
Yeah,
It's I
yeah.
actually taped it off. I want to like vlog this too,
Yes,
like the
vlog
process of
it.
like I put tape on the wall, like, all right, that's gonna go pretty much floor to ceiling, like edge to edge. And I'm like, right, I drew out this diagram. So I think that stuff would be cool to document. But
Oh my
that's what I worked on
gosh.
today, like planning a
Wow.
big painting.
Yes. Oh my gosh, Kevin, I have these 2 9-foot painting or 9-foot frames. Do you remember those in my studio that like
Hmm.
Barbara Moody like put out for free?
Yep.
So Max is going to help me pay for the canvas to do 2 of those. And I really want to work on a plan for those 2 large paintings.
That's so
Um,
exciting.
because I just think I really want to be intentional about them, and yeah, anyways, it's like we're able to like we're going to be vlogging this, like creating a system for us to like
Yeah.
move through it, and like
Yeah,
anyways,
it's
just keep coming
exciting,
back to
like
that.
to like I'm thinking about my work just as I know it on my own individually, and then how it's perceived more than ever because of this. So I'm like, to be able to have a lot of small work going and post
Mm-hmm.
about that, but also this really big, like long project to be able to
Oh,
document something like that.
yes.
I've never even made a painting that big, and that kind of makes me sad. So it's like the moment I have.
You're doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm I'm excited.
Oh, I'm excited for you, and I can't wait for you to like work that big. But I also like how you're splitting it up into different panels. Because Rose did that for like a couple of hers. Like she like puts paintings like together, like 2 panels, like as one. And sometimes when they're photographed, they look like one huge piece. And then I
Yep.
realize there's multiple, and I'm like, whoa, that's amazing. I didn't even
Yeah.
realize that, but I love that, and that's what I'm doing too, essentially.
Yeah. I it's I just have when like the vision just comes in so clear, like this is going to be a painting like that's as tall as me and like wider than my arms, and it's a triptych, it's 3 panels. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
very
Mm-hmm.
clear in my mind
Mm-hmm.
like what needs to happen.
Yes,
I don't know what
I
the painting's
love
going to look
those
like,
visions.
but
No, but at least the installation and the way that it's like, being made. I think that that's like such a good, I love having visions like that.
yeah, I keep thinking
Ooh.
about like a color field and like feeling lost in it, like standing in front of it and like seeing color edge to edge. And I'm thinking maybe this will be more minimal, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.